Bonjour, bonjour à tous. In today's class, we will understand the nationalities in French language. So, in English, we say nationalities, but in French, we pronounce it as nationalité. Although the spelling is bit similar to English, but the pronunciation is completely different. We will pronounce it as nationalité. Nationalité. In English, we pronounce this alphabet as T, but in French, we make the sound of T. We have seen this thing when we were doing alphabets, right? And you might be wondering, like, what is this thing over the E? So this is an accent. Like in Hindi language, we have matras. In the same way, we have some accents in French language. So for the time being, let us understand what is the sound which we have to make when we see this accent over the E. You have to pronounce it as A. So nationalité, les nationalités means the nationalities. All right, so let's start this topic with our home country, India, the greatest nation. We will say India in French as Inde. India as Inde. The sound will come. You don't have to make the sound of the. The in English. In French, you always make the sound of the. Inde, Indien, Indien, and countrywoman as Indienne. What does it mean? Like in English language, we have only one word to say. For a man as well as for a woman, you can only use the word Indian. Okay. A boy will also say I'm Indian. A girl will also say I'm Indian. But in French, it is a bit more systematic and we have separate words for masculine as well as feminine form. Now, we will say countrymen of India as Indien, Indien, and countrywoman as Indienne. India will be pronounced as Ind, countrymen as Indien, countrywoman as Indienne. All right. Now, can we guess which country is this? Yes, from the flag, it's clear that we are talking about Canada. Now, Canada in English, in French also we have a similar spelling, but again, the sound is not similar. The pronunciation will be different. So in English, we say Canada, but in French, you know that there is no sound of D. Okay, we pronounce D as they. Canada, Canada, Canadien, Canadian. Okay, so no sound of D. Canada, Canadien, Canadian. I repeat it once again. Canada, Canadien, Canadian. So yes, Canada is also one of the countries where they have French as their first language. All right. Any guesses? Which country is this? That's true. It is Australia. Now, in English, we pronounce it as Australia. T sound is coming. But we have seen that there is no sound of T in French. So we will pronounce it as Australie. Remember that whenever you see AU in French, you have to make the sound of O. AU is always pronounced as O in French language. So you will pronounce Australia in French simply as Australie. Australie for Australia. Now, E in the end will remain completely silent. The pronunciation of the alphabet I in French is E. That's why I am making the sound like Australie. Australie for Australia. The countryman of Australia will be Australia. Australia, and countrywoman as Australian. Australie, Australien, Australian. All right. Now, yes, this is China. We can see this is the Great Wall of China, and we pronounce China in French as Chine. Always remember that whenever you see CH written in French language, you have to make the sound of sh. Why so? C in French is pronounced as say. H is pronounced as ash. Say plus ash gives the sound of sh. So China will be pronounced as sheen. China will be pronounced as sheen. Countrymen of China will be pronounced as Xinhua. Xinhua. Now, again, we have kept the last alphabet silent. The S in the end will remain silent. And remember that whenever OI is there, you have to make the sound of wa. Like whenever you see CH, you have to make the sound of sh. Similarly, whenever you see OI, you have to make the sound of wa. So you will pronounce it as Xinhua, Xinhua. Now, one more pronunciation rule. This is very, very important. Please note it down in your notebooks. See, here this V represents vowel. Whenever the S is between two vowels, no, how many vowels do we have? A, E, I, O, U, Y, and H also as a silent vowel. In English, we have only 5, but in French, we have total 7 vowels. Whenever the S is between two vowels, you have to change the sound of S to Z. So here, you will pronounce countrywoman of China as Xinhuas. Xinhuas means Chinese. China as Xin. Countrymen of China as Xinhua. Countrywoman as Xinhuas. Xin, Xinhua, Xinhuas. All right. So these are some important pronunciation rules which you must note down in your notebooks. All right, let's move further. Okay. Yes, we all know this is England. This is London, the capital of England. Now, England. How we have made this word England? English plus land becomes England, right? English plus land together, it becomes England. Now, in French, we say English as anglais. Anglais, and we say land as terre. Like in English, you might have heard the word terrain. Terrain means a land. So that word land is actually derived from the French word terre. So sound welcome. Terre, anglais plus terre becomes Angleterre. Angleterre means England. Now, you can say anglais for British as well as English. One word, two meanings. Okay. Angleterre, anglais, anglaise. Again, we can see that the S here is between two vowels, I and E. So we will change the sound again and we will pronounce it as Z. Angleterre, anglais, anglaise. Angleterre, anglais, anglaise. All right, let's move further. So, yes, this is France, this is Paris. We say Paris in English. In French, we don't say Paris. we keep the last alphabet silent, we know that the pronunciation of I is of E. So Paris is pronounced as Paris. Paris as Paris. Paris in English, in French people call it as Paris. All right. France in English. Remember that the pronunciations will be different. So France, Francais, Frances. For the country, in English you say France. In French you say France. France, Francais, Frances. Again, the S is between two vowels, so you have to change the sound to Z. Francais for the countryman of France, Frances for the country woman. France, Francais, Frances. All right. So there are several more nationalities which we will understand in the next class. Till the time, write all these things in your notebook and revise them well. So oui, au revoir, enchanté et à bientôt.